Hello, Earth Angels. This is Erin with Earth Angels Sanctuary and Learning Center. Welcome to our next episode for the month of November, while we go over our lesson plan and techniques that you can do at home. Thank you for joining us and not letting distance get in the way of your intuitive development. For the month of November, we did crystals, nature's glitter. I'll go over the introduction. Our guest speaker was Denise Cook, who is an energy and crystal healer. She's the founder of THI Consulting, and she has a master's degree in sociology and working toward her PhD. We'll go over the lesson plan of crystals, how they're used, how to choose a crystal, carrying and maintenance, techniques and exercises, and then we'll wrap up in our conclusion and introduce our topic for December. So our lesson plan was that there are two types of elements. There's silicate and non-silicate when it comes to crystals. Silicate has oxygen and silica. So examples of that would be garnets and crystals, as you can see, the clear luster and the color. Now, non-silicate are elements other than oxygen and silica. They are like fool's gold that you see on this picture over here on your right, and hematite. Here are examples from our class of crystals that we had. Starting on the left side, the purple one is an amethyst. In the middle, we have an obsidian. At the top, we have adventurine. And at the bottom, starting with the top in the picture, that sharp looking one is a Hertz diamond. And then the little piece is a quartz. And then the green, beautiful piece with the lines going through it is malachite. So those are examples of crystals and stones that we played with while we were in class. So uses for crystals. Well, there are many uses, even the list I don't even have here. A lot of them people use for healing, protection. People wear them in jewelry pieces, which also do healing and protection. You can put them in your drinks and elixirs. You can use them to channel, focus, bring in creativity, and the list goes on and on and on. Like I said, if you can find ways to use it, crystals can benefit your life. So how do you choose a crystal? Well, you can start by the physical things that draw you, such as the color, the shape, the beauty of it. Maybe you're just drawn to it and you don't know. Another way is temperature. Does it get hot or cold when you hold it? This is a very good technique if you're not very good at sensing vibrations. I would start with, does it have a temperature? And another way you can choose it is vibration as well. Since everything is made up of energy, everything vibrates, and that even includes crystals. And crystal vibrations are affected by the size, the shape, the color, the density, and if it's been cleansed. So we'll go into that in just a little bit. To feel the vibration, you want to close your eyes and connect with the crystal. So just hold it and just think about putting your consciousness or your mind into the crystal. So in essence, this is meditation. So you can hold it in the palm of your hands like you see the picture here on the right, or you can hold it with just the tips of your fingers as if you were grabbing your pencil or chopsticks. And crystals can increase energies or cancel out energy. So if you have two high vibration crystals, you can increase higher energies. If you use two low vibration crystals, they increase the lower energies. And if you have one high and one low vibration crystal, you can balance or cancel out the energy. So as you close your eyes and connect with the crystal, you can eventually feel the pulse. If you can't feel the pulse or the vibration, then you might be able to feel a temperature. And that's a good way to start, is by the temperature. And just being quiet and closing your eyes, eventually you will be able to be sensitive to energies as you go along with it. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, if you add more crystals to get the effect that you want, now you know how you can use it. And I'll show you in a later technique how you can use two or more crystals to benefit your whatever you're trying to do. So carrying and maintenance. Well, the first one, let's start off with clearing or cleaning. So the way to do it is you can pass the crystal through the sage, the smudge of the smoke. You can put it in salt, or some people do a salt water bath, or you can just use regular water, like mineral water, distilled water, or run it underneath a faucet, some people suggest. You can do earth by burying it in the earth and leaving it under there. You can meditate or send an intention to it. You can do breath, which is the breath, the meditation breath. You can use sound, finding the frequency to the crystal and running the sound through it, and that'll help clear it. Or you can use crystal clusters. So an idea of that would be like a quartz crystals, or a lot of people use amethyst crystals, a big cluster, and set the crystal on there. So there are many different ways to clear and clean. Just find out what works for you. On the air side note, if you are to use salt or salt water, I would make sure that you're using an element that is not broken down by salt. And the way that you can find that is to do your research. You can go online or look in books or go to the library or ask anybody that has expertise in crystals and elements and see if salt would break down your crystal. So other ways, there are easier ways here, obviously, like the sage smudging and the earth, that are just as effective and simple, so you don't have to put yourself through the rigorous researching to find if that does or does not work. So then the next thing you want to do after you clear it, I would do clearing and cleaning. Well, it depends. To go back to that, if you're going to bury it in the earth, I would leave it like 24 hours. Whereas sage smudging is just going back and forth, and that can be a matter of seconds. So all of them have different time frames. Just use your intuitive feeling, and if you pick it up and feel it again and you can sense the vibrations gone up, then I would say that's pretty good. That's good enough. So our next category is charging. So how do we charge a crystal? Well, you can set it out in the moonlight. A lot of people like to do the full moon. Some people like to do the new moon. Some people don't even care about the phases of the moon. Just putting it in the moonlight does charge. But just remember, every phase does have its own frequency, its own vibration, its own energy signature. So you decide what works best for you. I personally like to do the full moon, but I don't say that that's the only way to do it. Some people do sunlight. On the air caution here, even though I love the sunlight, some of the crystals can lose their color and fade in the sun if you leave them out too long. So that's just one thing to remember there. Again, you can use crystal clusters. We talked about the amethyst and quartz under the clearing and cleaning. And we also talked about sound, and we also talked about energy. Just sending energy through it. Another category after you want to charge that is then you want to program it. So what I mean by programming is putting your intention into the stone, or what do you want the stone to do? Do you want it to be a protection stone? So then you put that into the intention of the stone and just sit with it and meditate on it. Ask the crystal. You'll get the feeling of what it wants to do, or you might even get a dream of what that crystal's supposed to do for you. You can do love, light, positivity. Basically, you can do anything that you can think of that you want it to do. I personally like to wear crystals on myself. In these ideas, I put under this category for techniques and exercises, I like to wear it in my pocket or carry it in my purse. You can lay with it on your nightstand while you sleep. I find that my children really enjoy that because it helps protect them from their dreams, kind of like dream catchers. You can set a picture of the person that you're caring for, that you're wanting to send energy. You can put their picture down and set the crystal on top. We talked about elixirs and beverages, I said earlier, that you could use. So what's the way to do that? Well, you can drop it into your water, and it changes the vibration of your water, and you drink it. I really want to say I've tried this and I found it quite interesting. I can taste the difference in the water, but not only the taste, my tongue starts to tingle as I drink the water, and even afterwards it leaves an interesting palate going on in your mouth. So I would definitely experiment with that and try that. I probably wouldn't do soda or anything, but definitely water, things that are very natural, I would put your crystal in. It's really good when you're sick as well because it helps change the vibration inside. As we talked about in Power of Thoughts by Juliana Chard, we're looking at the rice experiment there, and when we drink it, and since our body's made up of water, it spreads everywhere. So that's another way to add to that. You can lay it on your chakras. I found that very interesting. A lot of people resonate with that really well, and it'll help you go to sleep. You can set it in plants and in the soil, and it helps the plant grow. You can hold it when you are worried or nervous. For example, if you don't like to speak in public or you're doing a communications project in front of your class, this would be good to hold in your hand and just put all your worry into it and then just focus on your presentation. So another technique and exercise here, we have a crystal grid. If you look on the far right at the top, we have the flower of life, which is sacred geometry. We will touch upon that in February in one of our presentations here. So how does a crystal grid work? Well, you can find different types of mandalas, sacred geometry. You can even make your own type of grid. And depending on your purpose or intention, crystal grids are very useful. In fact, they help amplify your energy or manifestation. So you can sit your crystals anywhere on the grid. So if we look at here, you can set it in the center and the outside of the circle where the pattern points. You can do that. Actually, you can do anything randomly that you want to this pattern, or maybe sit it in the center of every flower. You can do that too. So what ways do crystal grids work? Well, they can charge other crystals. That's an example. Or like I said, it amplifies or increases your intention to manifest. That's very, very strong, and it does really work. Even if you set people's pictures on it, I found that works just as effective. It keeps the energy running when you're not there using your intention to always do it. So it runs continuous energy without you physically needing to be there. So for example, you create a grid for protection, then you want to use protection stones in your grid, and then it constantly runs when you're not even there. So you'll go off to school, you'll go play your sports, you'll come home, have dinner, you'll take your shower, and then your grid is still going all day. So that's very effective, so you don't always have to think about it and always keep putting your intentions there. You can also run a grid for love. We talked about protection. If you have a project coming up and you want to make sure that's going to be good, I would do that. If you guys are going on a family trip, put that in there. Honestly, you can do anything you want to do. I would just play with it and work with it and have fun with it. Okay, our next slide. So basically, that's how crystal grids work. And crystals. I would play with it, enjoy it, enjoy yourself. There are so many endless things that you can do with crystals. And the thing is, even as a kid, you might be drawn to it, but even as an adult, you still are drawn to crystals. And I found that in our presentation, even though the children were in love with it and had a great time, the parents were just so much into it as well. Crystals have a unique beauty that draws us even throughout the ages, as kings and queens have worn it in their crowns, their jewelry, in their clothing for protection, but also just for, it also represented riches. And there's so many different ways you can use it. So just play with it, have fun. If you have any questions or need anything, you can always email me at www.earthangelsnetwork.net, and you will find my link there, and you could comment on testimonials or comments or questions and send me anything that you want to talk about, and I will help you. So for next month, we have Through the Eyes of Energy. I have Renee Penley, who is an aura photographer who takes aura photography with her Polaroid. Amazing work. I've had her do it before. So she's coming to talk about what are auras, and we'll be talking about auras and what they are. You ever wonder more to yourself than just a body? Well, wonder no more. Come and join Lady of Light, which is her aura camera, and myself for an evening filled with color and answers. I'll be taking aura photos and discussing the effects that your auras have on your everyday life, how your moods and feelings affect your aura, and how they shift in the way you think in the moment. So join us. I know we have few children who can see auras, and that's an amazing gift. So if this is something interested, please log on next month and check out our Through the Eyes of Energy classroom blog. And thank you, everyone. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.